Welcome to our Spotlight series on the K-12 Service Learning Standards for Quality Practice. In this video, we will be focusing on diversity. Before we begin, this video is brought to you by the National Youth Leadership Council. For 30 years, NYLC has transformed classrooms, empowered teachers, and captivated students by leading the way in providing high-quality, dynamic service learning content to school districts, classrooms, out-of-school youth programs, and everything in between. NYLC provides programs and services that develop young leaders, support educators, and advance the field of service learning through programs, professional development, and the National Service Learning Conference. Service learning is an approach to teaching and learning in which students use academic knowledge and skills to address genuine community needs. For example, picking up trash on a riverbank is service. Studying water samples under a microscope is learning. When science students collect and analyze water samples and document their results, and present their findings at a local pollution control agency, you have service learning. In 2008, the service learning field released evidence-based standards and accompanied indicators that K-12 practitioners can use to ensure high-quality service learning practice. For decades, those involved in service learning have known that quality matters if service learning is to live up to its promise of helping young people grow in academics and civic engagement. Now, educators have a set of standards and indicators to guide them in improving their practice. In this video, we are focusing on one of the 8 K-12 service learning standards for quality practice, diversity. The standard states, service learning promotes understanding of diversity and mutual respect among all participants. While this definition gives us a broad overview of the standard, we will use indicators for diversity, which encompass the body of research behind the standards to understand what diversity really looks like in practice. The first indicator for diversity states that quality service learning helps participants identify and analyze different points of view to gain understanding of multiple perspectives. A good service learning project creates opportunities for learners to encounter and value perspectives different from their own. However, this typical approach to diversity may not be sufficient to have a meaningful impact on the capacity of participants to engage in a diverse array of ideas. Just as service learning in principle expects participants to engage with, rather than merely be exposed to, real-world ideas, diverse service learning experiences must encourage students to utilize diverse community-based knowledge to address challenges, rather than merely learn about these perspectives at a distance. When it comes to the standards, reflection and diversity are spiritual siblings. Practicing reflection is important for gaining an understanding of diversity, and service learning should offer opportunities for the careful integration of both reflection and diversity into all aspects of a service learning project. The second indicator for diversity states that quality service learning helps participants develop interpersonal skills in conflict resolution and group decision making. A study by the Corporation for National and Community Service showed that youth from economically disadvantaged backgrounds were less likely to engage in volunteerism, but youth from these backgrounds were more likely to volunteer in order to gain skills for work or school. Service learning is most effective when you go beyond merely exposing learners to real-world ideas and allow the learner to experience how to work cooperatively with peers and partners to develop 21st century skills. The third indicator states that quality service learning helps participants actively seek to understand and value the diverse backgrounds and perspectives of those offering and receiving service. When service learning is confused with community service, with a less robust diversity framework, it creates a missionary ideology that uses the server's way of knowing to solve what they view as deficits in the recipient community. Core to a missionary approach is the distinction between those who serve and service recipients. Carolyn O'Grady describes the language used to distinguish the parties in service learning as contributing to the perception of unequal and unbalanced relationships. Overcoming this block to both diversity and meaningful service is not difficult when service providers and service recipients partner to address real challenges. The fourth and final indicator states that quality service learning encourages participants to recognize and overcome stereotypes. It is recommended that, if you're just starting out in service learning, you begin by serving your own community before trying to serve communities of different backgrounds. When you're ready to move into other communities, getting to know your service recipients or partners is key to recognizing and overcoming stereotypes. To implement service learning in the community, Cultural traditions and norms need to be taken into account, including the need to spend the time to get to know the individuals and culture and to establish strong interpersonal connections before being accepted. Service learning is an unfamiliar concept in many cultures, and there may be resistance due to cultural traditions or internal politics. There is a need to help individuals to adapt, but the service needs to be culturally sensitive to avoid the missionary ideology. For more information on the K-12 Service Learning Standards for Quality Practice, and to see these standards in action through video, we encourage you to investigate the multimedia learning tool LIFT at lift.nylc.org. We also welcome you to join a free network of over 3,000 youth and adults engaged in service learning by visiting the Generator School Network. Within this site, you can learn, plan, and connect on a broad set of service learning related topics. The GSN can be found at gsn.nylc.org. Thanks.